aspirations.
First blood. Ally has been slain. You have slain an
We're back on the original server with a build I have been using lately, which has helped me win a bunch of games. And same as the usual, we're not just gonna talk about the build, but also provide some tips, tricks, and strategies that are all guaranteed to help you win more games. If you want to help the channel, consider giving this video a thumbs up, share it, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. We didn't cut the lane because Argus is at a disadvantage against Sylvana in the early game. Instead, we went to this part of the map to prevent her from cutting our lane. Be patient, don't just mindlessly head to the lane. Use the bushes to your advantage and let the opposing XP laner use their skills first. Remember, when their skills are on cooldown, you can use that as an opening for your attacks or to simply get closer to the minions safely to gain bonus gold and experience. Kudos to Sylvana for having the same mindset. We got outplayed right there.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. Enemy missing.
There's our opening.
Choke on your aspirations.
Cho already recalled back to the base, so I decided to head back to the lane instead of recalling. After all, the rest of the enemies were on the top lane, so Argus should be safe, right? Wrong. Good play by Cho for analyzing what's going on the minimap. Apparently, he didn't recall. Instead, he was waiting in the shadows for us to commit a mistake. Remember, map awareness will greatly help you win more games since it can help you make the better decisions. When clashing, be observant. In this duel, Sylvana will reach level 4 as soon as she clears all of our minions, so we had to watch out for her ultimate.
Hello! I'm here, baby girl.
Stay with me, Bratuka!
The first item we completed was Sky Piercer. In my opinion, it's a must-have item for Argus, but only in the early game. Once you complete all of your items, it's best to sell it and replace it with something more useful such as Blade of Despair. It will help you have a better chance of securing kills thanks to its unique passive, which executes an enemy hero when their HP decreases to a certain threshold. Also, it's very cheap, an item truly essential for this strategy. Later in the video, you'll find out what that strategy is. It seems Sylvana has learned her lesson and is much more cautious now. Even though we took her down twice earlier, still be cautious, be careful, because at the end of the day, she is an early game hero and our levels and gold were not that far apart. This is pretty subtle, but there's a reason why I dashed. Our minions were closing in on Sylvana. If I stayed on that spot, Sylvana would have gained more HP from Spell Vamp by hitting our minions, which also meant that we would have lost that duel. Good positioning isn't something for long-range heroes only. It also benefits melee heroes like Argus. In some matches, I don't buy boots since it slows down our item purchases, but in that game, I found it necessary to help in lane rotation. If you do decide to get boots, the type of boots you will get strongly varies depending on the situation. We were supposed to get magic shoes for the bonus cooldown reduction, but changed my mind and decided to go with sweep boots for greater damage output. That way, it'll be easier for us to go head to head with Sylvana even if she uses her ultimate. Use bushes to your advantage and don't just mindlessly walk in circles around the lanes. Since we went into one of the bushes, Sylvana didn't know we were there, which encouraged her to use her skills on the minions, giving us another opening to take advantage of. At this point, I was feeling kinda greedy and cocky. Instead of attacking, we should have just gone to the mid lane. After all, our minions were still far out, and the mid laner had very little HP left, so pushing for our mid laner during that time would have been a death sentence. But hey, that was a good psychological torture for Sylvana. Showing her that her turret can save her will make her hesitate later on to face us, which can give us a lot of openings for split pushing and joining team fights. Since we lack attack speed, we decided to get Corrosion Sight. It's an item with a good balance between attack speed, attack power, and movement speed bonus. Perfect for heroes that specialize in dealing damage using basic attacks and chase down finishes thanks to its slowing effect. If you think you're in need of lifesteal, it might be a better idea though to get Demon Hunter's Sword instead. It's not as fast as Corrosion Sight, and it doesn't have bonus movement speed and doesn't slow the enemy hero, but it helps deal decent damage and has a lifesteal.
All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men.
Next item will be the star of the game, Fleeting Time. Fleeting Time will allow Argus to have access to his ultimate more frequently thanks to its unique passive that decreases the ultimate's cooldown every time they get a kill or assist. With Fleeting Time, you'll barely feel your ultimate's cooldown. This item is especially helpful against enemies that have skills with longer cooldown times. You can use Argus' ultimate to survive against their ultimates on the first encounter, and if you manage to get some kills or assists, Immortality, Argus' ultimate, should be available again within a few seconds, way before your opponent's ultimates go into cooldown, or become available from cooldown. This will give you the advantage of having your ultimate sooner, which can be used to pressure the enemies in clashes and split pushing. That was a good poke. Since Cho had significantly low HP, he would either be forced to retreat, or if he gets forced into a fight, well, obviously that will most likely end badly for him.
Surprise, motherfucker!
We got Sea Halberd late since we never really needed it earlier. Alucard was the only hero with tremendous spell vamp, and we rarely encountered him since we were too busy on the lanes. In situations you are laning against a high HP sustained hero though, get this item before getting Corrosion Sight or Demon Hunter's Sword. Since we already have Fleeting Time, it's time to keep the pressure up. After all, Argus' ultimate will have a significantly lower cooldown time going forward. This is the moment where Argus is literally not afraid of death. Let's give this Cho player a taste of his own medicine. We'll trick him into thinking we have already fallen back.
The force is strong with this one.
Next item is gonna be the Demon Hunter Sword. I prefer getting this late since this is when it's most useful in my opinion. But like we discussed earlier, that really depends on the situation and your needs. To complete the strategy, here is the Emblem and Talents configuration we had in the game. The Marksman Emblem was used to compensate for the lack of attack speed items on the early game, especially since most games I played with Fleeting Time didn't have boots at all. It also has adaptive attack, which is pretty useful in the early game. As for the first standard talent, we had Swift to again make up for the slow attack speed. As for our second standard talent, we got Bargain Hunter. This is also an important part of the configuration since it'll help Argus get his items sooner. The strategy is not to wait for the late game for Argus to reach his power spike. The goal is to reach his power spike much earlier. And finally, Warcry. This core talent is useful for Argus since his attack sequence is mostly separated, which means he will be able to easily activate the effect. It also compensates for the mediocre damage output of the build. Remember, Fleeting Time is more of a utility item that will help you gain more access to your hero's ultimate. However, it has subpar bonus attack and no attack speed, so creating a balanced and efficient build path and configuration is very important. Like I said earlier, the point of the strategy is to reach Argus' power spike sooner. That can be achieved not just by gaining a lot of experience and gold, that can also be achieved by strategic itemization. In case you haven't noticed yet, the items we had in that game were mostly extremely affordable, and since we had Bargain Hunter in the mix, it was even easier to get the items Argus needed. Imagine, it hasn't even been 12 minutes yet, but Argus was already item locked. That concludes our Mobile Legends content for today. What do you think of this build? Do you think it can also help you get more stars? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe everyone. Peace.